Hey, you guys, welcome to another 10-Minute Talks. I'm Chan Harris, and we're here. I just happened to be in Western Pennsylvania, and have I got a surprise for you. Follow me. Come this way. Come this way. Who do we have here? Oh my gosh, look who's here.
Oh my God. Is this City College?
Look at that space. Look at that space. So I'm here today with Ethan, Jack, and Angelique. And they are doing a production of a show called Shaboom, Life Could Be a Dream out in Western Pennsylvania. And I wanted to talk to them a little bit about what it's been like to make that transition from City College to a professional environment. I'm curious to know, you all, what were your expectations and how were they different than what you got? Like, what did you expect? What's that? Go ahead.
Well, my expectations. Well, we are a little bit a ways from home, so when I think of Pennsylvania, part of me was like picturing like The Shining, just seclusion, like far away in the trees.
Which isn't necessarily far off, but that's okay. Yeah.
Man, Johnstown really knows how to have its own unique charm. The dorms, the rehearsal space, just the acoustics in that room that we got to work in, and the floor too.
Right.
I guess what surprised me was just how comfortable and just how much of it felt like city. And granted, sure, it's gonna feel like that with my best friends and with one of my favorite professors.
Right, totally.
But no, it was a great introduction to the professional world in the sense that you can bring comfortability and you can bring your own magic to anything you do. And I guess that was just a fun realization.
Yeah. Cool. What was your expectation, and was it different than when you got here?
In terms of working professionally, the regional theater experience, the whole summer stock, whatever you want to call it, experience, I expected a lot of hard work, for sure. Honestly, in a way, I expected a lot of rigidity, if that makes any sense. A lot of how do I say it? Just a fixated schedule, having something to do every minute. And not that the schedule's light in any way, because we're working these long, hard-working days, but in terms of an expectation versus reality thing, it almost shocked me how much so much of this experience has been, I got to take it upon myself to kind of do the work after hours, we obviously have our scheduled rehearsals, how we do it there, but a lot of the show can come together when the actor is just working by themselves, or when the actors are collaborating by themselves, with the table reads that we do, and the meetups that we do, and the conversations we have, the dinner trips that we take, have conversations about the show. So much of it is we do the work in the room, obviously, but I guess working professionally has taught me that, it's a lot of self-sustenance, and being able to trust oneself that, even, yes, you have a schedule, but, how can you also still act to the show while not? How do you still be a human being and live your life, but also understand that, yes, everything that I do can be in some way leading to making the show the best way that it possibly can be. So, yeah, it's something that definitely, it's been a glorious ride, I will say. Definitely threw me off at first, but I feel like we opened in 2 days, and I feel like I've kind of gotten the swing of things now. So.
Yeah, because you guys rehearse for 2 weeks. All you rehearse is for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
As opposed to the stuff we do at school, where we rehearse for 5 or 6 weeks, and then have a tech week after that.
Yeah.
We're teching in 1 day, basically. Yeah. You're right. It's the burden of responsibility, and I think it's that way in general. Really falls on you to do your work after hours. Because we only can rehearse a certain number of hours a day, and it ends up being a lot less than the 5 weeks we have at school in a way. But it also tends to be pretty productive rehearsals.
Fair.
Because you guys have been so great about staying. We always talk about at City College how we're always herding cats.
Yeah.
So you know what it's like to have actors. Everybody just disappears, right?
They play in the snow.
Yeah, exactly. They run to their lockers or run across the street to get some food from Fumo or whatever. And here, of course, there's nothing to do here. We're kind of, it's the theater. We're very isolated here, which is great. But there's this kind of work ethic that's implied here that when a break happens, you focus on. A lot of times I see you all kind of overstudying the script, or you're working on choreography.
Overstudying.
Yeah, it's sort of exactly, because that it's a limited amount of time, and it feels so. Does it feel like what's the difference in responsibility having done both? And all three of you having, done plays at like City College and the university atmosphere and then doing this, does it feel like the responsibility is different to you?
I think that as a student, as an actor, I've treated both similarly, where even in school where we have more time, we have maybe more, I don't want to say flexibility in school, because it really depends on who's directing, what the show is, all of that. But I'd like to think that I totally forgot your original question.
I don't even know what it was either.
Yeah.
Something about,
Is the responsibility
So
different?
tired.
yeah, it's responsibility
I'm
different.
treated with the same amount of responsibility, so I think that's why I feel prepared now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people have a tendency in school to think, well, it's just school. And I think that to get to a further place in your, not only career, but also with your capabilities and with your art, you have to always treat it like it's work, which is fun work. It's always fun work. But, so I would say responsibility wise, for me, it's been the same. But I will say the responsibility has varied more in the sense of doing a musical. It's been a while since I've done a musical, especially as a lead or in this capacity. So it's more like walking into it and being like, well, I'm good to get off book, I'm good to do this. And then being like, well, I also have to remember 21 songs and 21 dances. And which ones I'm in and which ones are just them. And and then there's lines. And then there's also Mrs. Varney's lines.
Exactly.
So it was just more of like the things, so many things, but in a good way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you're also functioning though as assistant choreographer and helping me out a bunch with choreography, with all stuff. So there's an additional responsibility there, of course. But like we were talking earlier about how, oh my God, I totally forgot what I was going to say. I was going to say something. How it's so neat for me to watch you all, having known you all for a couple of years, to actually watch you be transplanted into this kind of professional atmosphere, and to watch how I see your City College training in all of you. Like I see, I can see your acting one classes, I can see improv classes, I can see musical theater workshop, I can see directing one stuff too, because I've had all of you, and it's really neat to see the kind of foundation that City College lays in such a really great way, and prepares you, I feel like, better than a lot of places. I feel like, and I think a lot of it has to do with, we always talk about it being a commuter school for students, but it's also a commuter school for faculty. Like we have all these amazing professors, Professor Anthony and Professor Weiss and Jen and Rob and Robin Karras and Ali Sheedy and Christian Kelly Sordelay and oh my God, I could go on and on and on. I wish I should be able to name all of them. They're all so amazing, and they're all people who bring a lot of their experience to here and transfer it to you. And I really see that here in you all working. Your work ethic is really cool. And I said earlier too, sorry I'm talking way too much, but I'm kind of bragging on them.
Please.
I know, right? Because everybody at City College has been auditioning for me since I've known them. Like everything that you do when you go to class, and it's like that when you're in professional theater too. When you meet people, you're always auditioning for people. Because people remember you. We all remember each other. If you don't make a great impression, we don't necessarily remember that, but a great impression, yeah, we remember. Like when I talked to the three of you about doing this, I think each one of you said, what do I need to do to audition? I'm like, you've been auditioning for me for 3 years. So you don't need to audition on this. Anyway, tell me a little bit about the show itself and what it's like to like character-wise, and if it's fun, where is it hard, where is it whatever?
Okay. Character-wise, it's fun. It is so fun. Well, the show itself is fun. It's a fun, silly script in a good way.
Right.
I think that if we weren't having fun doing this show, then we are just deeply sad.
Yeah.
So I think that
we need to
it's
seek
so
help.
fun. Playing Lois has been first of all, just so incredibly unique to any other role I've played, because I feel like usually I like my women damaged. No, I'm kidding. But I do like them. I just usually play different.
yeah,
not
yeah,
ingenue. This is my
you know-
first time in an ingenue. Type.
Yeah, it is. And
role.
you really are, there's so much of you that is an ingenue, but you do comedy really well. You do, there's a certain Lucy Ricardo thing about you, and there's a lot of things that you can do. So I think this is a really cool challenge for you to kind of step up and be an ingenue.
Yeah.
It's really neat.
It's something I think that I just for a long time didn't know that was a possibility for
Yeah.
me. Whether that be, I don't know, just like weird stuff from like high school, or whether that be just like setting certain expectations for myself or limitations on myself. I don't know. But I will say, yeah, playing Lois has been fun, but it's also been, even though I think she's a simple gal, but I think she's also been just incredibly challenging because it's totally unique to any female character I've played in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's, soprano, so that's good.
Yeah, no, right. Finally, right? And conversely, for the two of you, usually get, I think the both of you tend to usually get cast in these sort of heavier leading man-ish roles. And you're really, you're sort of, clowns, not like Bozo the Clown, but like theatrical clowns.
Yeah.
They are the funny guys of the show. Like, they're really funny.
It's been interesting because, like you said, it's a very unique experience with Shaboom because it's not only are we singing these iconic songs, so already I have a bunch of pressure on that already,
Yeah.
but it's just sort of finding, especially with a character like Eugene, it's so interesting to find confidence playing unconfident. You know what I mean?
Yes,
That
yes,
is such
yes,
a
yes.
unique challenge,
Yeah.
and with this show specifically, because it's such a small cast, it is so, like you said, it's not so much a responsibility change, because you always have a responsibility when you do a show,
Right.
one act, or anything you do. But this is such a smaller cast; it's so much more intimate, and it's these.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide,
Yeah.
and it was interesting finding that comfortability and that fun in your part, not only in the character but also in the acapella, in the different vocal sections, and like you said, there's no place to hide, and it's a really great challenge, and it was a really, really fun finding the person behind these sort of archetypal clownish characters,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
with a show like Shaboom, it's just it reminds you of a lot. It really does. When you see it, when you play it, it reminds you of the time, the songs that were written. It reminds you of the time of being young and being following your dreams and just wanting to have fun with your friends and heck, maybe even fall in love. Who knows? It's just got a good nostalgic vibe. I think people are gonna really love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys have seen the work that I do at City College. I'm so accustomed to playing these morally dejected, kind of disturbed, challenged, whatever. But so I think the first thing that I'll say is this show's been a breath of fresh air, if that makes any sense. I think this is I said to both of you guys, I was like, to everybody, I was like, this is the cutest show that I've ever done. I think in terms of just pure this just feels like a ray of sunshine on stage. It's such a breath of fresh air, especially after this past season of work.
These past shows that we've done.
Heavy shows, exactly.
Which is great. It was amazing. But it's just coming here and down this beautiful place in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, to do this show with these iconic songs and do it for this audience in this beautiful space, and just, it's just
Great
fun, and it feels a great cast too, and an okay director, I guess.
Yeah.
But
it's
it's
a little iffy.
it's it's okay. We'll talk about that later. But it's just, getting to do this role as Wally, it's kind of, I love what you said. I think finding humanity and finding the truth in, obviously these characters are larger than life. We can call them the clowns. You look on stage and oh yeah, they're like the jokers or the comedic relief, whatever. But behind them, that they're people too. You know what I mean? We all have those people in our lives, and it's, a little conversation we had not too long ago about kind of taking inspiration from people that we know in our own lives.
A lot of you are in this show.
Literally, I'm using a lot of you guys, so thank you to guys for that. But it's just been a breath of fresh air, a very healthy challenge for sure. I'm not accustomed to playing these I don't want to say funny characters, but kind of being the butt of comedic relief, being the butt of whatever. Kind of grabbing the laughs from the audience. It's fun to explore this side of myself that I never thought that I would bring out. Definitely scary and intimidating at first. It's funny. I find comfort in the more morally challenged roles,
Right?
those that feel.
It's a different type of vulnerability.
You can.
That's something to call your therapist about, right?
You can make whatever conclusions you want about me with that statement, but I mean, yeah, it's just been fun. It's just been fun. So I mean, I'm just thankful,
Yeah.
and grateful. It's a great little fun.
Well, audiences are going to love it. I mean, they're going to absolutely. It's such. I was sitting here thinking this is such a great example of what Professor Weiss always says about how honesty is more interesting than comedy.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's what you all are doing. You're bringing an honesty to a kind of material that is that could on the surface be just very like pratfalls,
Yeah.
and, you know, slapsticks and all that stuff,
Yes.
rubber chickens.
Yeah, very momentary. Like
Yeah, exactly. But there's such I'm really loving the honesty that you're bringing to these roles. It makes them so much more heartfelt. You know, it's the difference in an audience leaving the theater and going, well, that was really cute, or leaving the theater going, oh, I really love that. That was so sweet. What a sweet story. You're falling in love with you because of your foibles and because of your whatever. Yeah, because
it's just
of
more
your
fun to
ticks.
play.
It is more fun to
It
play.
really is.
It makes you well-rounded people within. It's like you have the structure of a character that is really kind of archetypal, even almost stereotypical in a way, and the like bringing that humanity into that, like pulling the humanity into it, is what makes it really interesting. And that's it's what makes. I've always said that good actors can save a bad play, but bad actors. A good play can never be saved by bad actors, you know, and it's. I'm not saying it's a bad play. It's just it's a.
You'll never see a cast like this with this show.
No, you won't. You probably
It's
won't.
bad
That's not
lighting.
even true. That's
Just
not even true.
seeing where we went in 2 weeks, by the
I know.
way.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Because like we started with like a really great vision, but just these moments that we found in between with each rehearsal and when we actually get to play with it with an audience too,
Yeah.
it's so unlike something I've ever been in. And it's just when you read that first script, you already sort of know the story, the feeling, the vibe. But when you see our version, it just turns into something.
That's great.
Can I just
Really
say
cool.
also that I've done so many comedies and so many really funny shows with really funny people, but this is the first show in my life where I am breaking every 5 seconds because
Yeah.
I cannot keep it together
Oh,
looking
yeah,
at
it's
you guys.
It's really funny.
It's hilarious.
I go home with a headache every night. I really do. I'm not kidding.
I don't
have
know
a
what I'm
headache when I get
gonna
home. I'm like,
do.
damn them.
I'm gonna have to give Mountain Playhouse a refund.
I know,
Like,
right?
I'm not.
I know exactly.
It's
Exactly.
been a class in itself, just learning not to break them.
Like,
I
not
know.
just me,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
looking everywhere but at you guys, just so that I can just get a line out.
Well, it functions so much like, and it's something that you all picked up on really quickly. It functions like a lot of those like mid 20th century comedies. You know, the I Love Lucy, and you know that kind of humor is in there. And the people that were doing that stuff, they were doing it. There's an honesty that they're bringing to it. You know, Lucille Ball. I mean, she's just so brilliant because she's so honest in what she does.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing that you all are picking up on, and that's what I really love. Do you all want to watch it? You want to watch a couple of clips? You want to see them in action? I'll show you in action.
You go away, my darling, think of me. There still may be a chance to end my misery. Tears on my pillow, pain in my heart, caused by you. Caused by you. You've got to
So thank you for joining us today for another 10-minute talk. I am so thrilled that I got the chance to work with Ethan and Jack and Angelique. And thanks for joining us. Bye. Cool. Now, did it actually record the video?
Camera, the
Yes, it did.
Yeah, right.